During an appearance Tuesday on MSNBC's The Beat, Geraldo Rivera claimed if President-elect Donald Trump does mass deportations, it will be so horrifying the reputation of the nation will be damaged. Host Ari Melber said, "You were right about the mass deportation. We now have the headlines from the transition, as he wants to declare a national emergency, use the military, and do mass deportation of the undocumented." What do you say to Donald Trump, someone that you knew for so many years tonight? What do you say to him about what they're planning? Rivera said, "I'm not sure if they would take my advice on it, Ari, but let me be unequivocal about it. The part you have not yet gotten to it is the fact the confirmation came about the vast holding areas, and so to convince people that they should not appeal their cases and drag out their stay. Even if they're here, they have a right to due process 2 years down the line to get them to leave now. They will make the vast holding areas so unpleasant that people will be dying to get out of home. That's the thinking." He continued, "I'll say it to you, everything I say now in bold letters. This is horrifying what they have planned. Can you imagine? Just think of the Japanese internment in World War II. It will be that, and a much faster scale, and the more people than they crowd into these places. The more horrifying that it will be, and it will weigh on every American. You know, there will be no distortion about it, and no explaining about it. When you could look through the barbed wire fence, you'll see people that look just like you and many of them in the country for a long time, and to people with mixed families, where one is a citizen and the husband, and then the other, the wife, they are not." Rivera added, "This is going to be a horror, where it is really going to, I think, tarnish the reputation of the nation, and that it should affect the conscience of everybody who will see it. Is there a problem with undocumented immigration? Obvious all. There might be a more humane solution than the one proposed. What was he doing down on the border anyway? He's not in office yet. He doesn't have a job yet. He's not, working for any administration now."
The reputation of the nation, and it should affect the conscience of everybody who sees it. Is there a problem with undocumented immigration? Obviously. But there must be a more humane solution than the one proposed. And what was Tom Homan doing down on the border anyway today? He's not in office yet. He doesn't have a job yet. He's not working for any administration now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Geraldo. Number one, I think it's very interesting to get your take on all this, and I think people are listening to you, so that's striking. And we'll deal with it all together as a country. That's what we got to do. Before I lose you, it's not just politics here. As you know from your long time working in the press, one of the most striking things is you get your press badge or you go out to work and you talk to people, all kinds of people. And so, because I get time with you here, because you're not signed to another cable network like Fox right now, I wanted to just go back to your career. One of the most intense, striking, for some controversial legal interviews you did with none other than Charles Manson. Let's roll the tape.
Others have killed more, and they've done it more recently. But Charles Manson is a name that has taken its place in American infamy.
Do you feel remorse?
I don't know what that is.
You know what I think? That you are an evil person.
Right, I'm evil. I'm terrible.
You are terrible.
Oh, yeah, I'm awful. Look me straight away in the eye. Do I look like I'm guilty about anything?
You look more guilty than anyone I ever looked in the eye in my life.
Really?
You remember that interview? What can you tell us about that? What did you learn? And again, in the pioneering days of that earlier kind of rougher tumble TV, the interviews you did, the reporting you did, tell us about it.
Well, Manson really did reek of infamy. I really thought he was a disgusting person. And the worst thing about Manson and his popularity was the fact that he was the biggest selling T-shirt in the country at that time. It was a bizarre perversion in pop culture where this mass murderer was a celebrity as well as a disgusting criminal. It really Manson spooked me more than most. And I did several specials on crime specials dealing with mass murderers, various ones, the prostitution murders in Long Island and so forth. It's a weird part of life, but I've always been able, Ari, and I think you must also have that release valve where you can be professionally engaged in something in a circumstance that is horrible or very unpleasant or repulsive or whatever it is, and you still have a kind of a distance. I think my enduring success, and by the way, I am a correspondent at large for News Nation. I hasten to add, but my enduring success, or at least my enduring career, has been the ability to relate to a story, to get involved in a story, to be affected by the story, to want to change the reality that I'm reporting about. But ultimately, you go home, you're with your family, and you have another life. You can separate. You have to, otherwise. It's like a psychiatrist or
Sure.
a doctor, a cancer doctor. If you don't separate yourself from the reality that is your profession, you have no other life, and you could go nuts. My brain sometimes feels like it's going to blow up in my head, and I one of the things about having a 54-year career, I have a drawer full of letters from fans or people, supplicants or people in dire need, or people who need, me to be engaged or involved. And I do one or two a day, and you get exhausted emotionally.
Sure.
And yet it's my point is, I'm not crying the blues. I had a great career. I have a wonderful relationship. But just give you one quick example. The Willowbrook story about the developmentally disabled. When I see someone who is obviously developmentally disabled on the street, I swear to God this is true. Like a kid with Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or something like that, and their parents are walking down the sidewalk. I feel a relationship with every single one of them. I feel a relationship, and they look at me, and they know it. They get that same vibe, and I think that's really the secret of why I'm still around.
No, it's striking. And you say 54 years, people, and there's different ways to do it. Doctors, nurses, lawyers in certain situations, you have a clinical distance, but you're also up close to reality, right? You're not sitting back and having life pass you by. It's striking. So, look, Geraldo, we appreciate